Hello, welcome to the module Performance Management and Development. In this presentation, we are going to look at management underperformance in the organization. So by the end of this presentation, you will be able to conduct root cause analysis, develop performance improvement plans, monitor and evaluate performance, and finally, foster a culture of continuous improvement in an organization. Now let us look at the definition of underperformance specifically. Underperformance refers to a situation in which an individual, team, or organization fails to meet the expected standard or performance target. It indicates a performance level that is below what is considered satisfactory or desired. So, how do we measure performance in the organization? Individual performance can be measured in terms of task accomplishment. It can be measured in terms of meeting deadlines, and also it can be measured in terms of productivity, efficiency, etc. These are some of the indicators of individual performance in the organization. So if you can't beat the deadline, you're always completing task after the deadline, it means you are underperforming. And also, if you are not productive and efficient enough, then that is a sign that you are performing. So at this point, the management has to look at it. They have to manage your performance so that be productive, so that you can be completing tasks before the deadline or the deadline. So that's the definition of underperformance in an organization. Now let us look at the definition of underperformance management. This refers to the process, strategies, and interventions employed to address and improve performance deficiency. It involves identifying, analyzing, and resolving the causes of underperformance with the aim of helping individuals or teams reach their full potential and achieve the desired level of performance. For example, people might not be performing well, not because of their own making. It could be because of the uh, machine failure or the equipment they are using is not performing. For example, if you're using an old computer with the outdated softwares, okay, the computer takes long to load. It will take 2 hours, 1 hour to load. Then it's going to affect your performance, of course. You're not going to be productive. You're not going to be efficient. You're not going to be completing tasks on time. It's not because of your fault, but it's because of the fault in the machine. So it's very important for management to identify where the problem is coming from. If the problem is coming from the machine or the computer, then the IT department will take control of that. But if the problem is the technicality of the job, maybe the job is somehow difficult for the employees to do, then the human resource management together with the department where that particular employee is working from will work together to see if the job description can be redesigned in order to make him or her perform very well. So it's basically identifying why employees are not performing and then develop an action plan to make sure that the individual can reach their full potentials. For example, if you have been failed by the machine, but you have the potential to execute your task, then the machine is the one letting you down. So it is advisable for management to work on the machine so that you can reach your full potential. So basically, that is the definition of underperformance management in the organization. Now, let us look at the common causes of underperformance. One is lack of clarity in job roles and responsibilities. This comes back to the human resource department, which is developing the job descriptions together with the department where the employee is working. So if the job description is not clearly developed and in line with the employee's qualification and skills, then performance is going to be below the standard. Why? Because the tasks are not related to what the employee is supposed to do. So you need to look at that as human resource manager or as the head of the department to make sure that always the job description reflects the employee's skills and the abilities. The next cause of underperformance is insufficient training and skill gaps. When the employees are not well trained, of course, they are going to face challenges related to the job. Uh, Having a degree or master's is not enough to perform in the organization. You need additional training, you need extra skills for you to perform. So if these skills and the training are not given to you in time, then your performance is going to be below the expectations. Because at the university, they don't teach practical things always. Okay, they give you the theoretical part in the classroom, but when you go to out to the field there, you find extremely different thing. Okay, so you need to get those training to make sure that you perform well. So one of the reasons as to why employees are underperforming is because they have limited skills. The next one is inadequate resources or tools. Resources can be money or finance to motivate employees to perform, or the resources can also be the systems or the machines the employees are using. Okay, if you're using all the computers, of course, you are not going to be performing. For that reason, you don't need to blame the employees for underperformance, but you need to blame the entire organization for using old computers instead of the new or modern computers. So that is how inadequate resources affect employees' performance in an organization. The next one is low motivation or engagement. For one or the other reason, employees might not be motivated. When there is an element of demotivation, of course, performance is going to be affected. There are so many reasons or so many ways why employees are not motivated. One is maybe the difficulties in executing the job and also the failure of the machine. Okay, you come to the office, but the computer is failing you all the time. You feel motivated. Okay, it could also be financial bit of it, payment. Okay, if you are paying employees very less compared to an organization, of course, there is that feeling of demotivation. Someone will feel like, how come someone like me who's having degrees earning double than what I have? So I better look for a greener pasture somewhere. So by doing that, of course, the performance is not going to be the expectation. So therefore, you need to look at it critical as a manager to see why employees are not motivated. And if they are not motivated because of the tools they're using, you need to upgrade. And if the motivation is to do with the finances, go back to the drawing board and check yourself how you're going to handle that. Otherwise, lack of motivation can lead to high employee turnover, which in turn can affect the organizational performance. The next one is ineffective communication or collaboration. This is where the job description or the tasks expected from the employees are not well communicated to them in terms of the job description and also collaboration. Okay, in an organization, we have many departments and also many employees working in different departments. So all of these need to be integrated into one team. You are in the Department of Finance, you don't want to collaborate with the Department of Logistics, you don't want to collaborate with the Department of Human Resource, then work is going to be very difficult because by definition, an organization is a group of people who work together to achieve one common goal. But if you cannot collaborate, then of course you're not going to achieve your goal by the end of the day. And by doing that, performance is going to be affected. So basically, these are some of the common causes of underperformance in an organization. Now let us look at the steps in underperformance management. As a manager, what steps do you expect to take in order to manage the performance of your employees? One is setting clear expectations. You need to define performance targets and the standards. So you need to have a standard to be followed by your employees in terms of correcting them where they have gone wrong, and also a standard can be in terms of how you want a job to be executed, etc. Then you also need to ensure clarity and understanding. So this is still under setting clear expectations. So you need to make sure that the employees have understood what they are doing. They know how to do it, and in case of any stagnation, they know whom to consult or whom to look for solutions from. So by doing that, you are actually improving on the employee's performance, because if I'm stuck, I know immediately whom I'm going to consult than me keeping quiet, confusing where to go. Okay, it will take for me the whole 2 3 days finding where to get an answer from. But if it is clearly stated to me that, man, if you have any problem, this is your supervisor, visit him, then work will easily move smoothly. So that is the step number one of setting clear expectations. Then the step number two is performance monitoring. So you need to regularly measure employee performance and also do what you call the evaluation. Because if you can't monitor my performance, how will you know that I'm actually performing to the expectations? So by you monitoring my performance, you will be able to know whether this young man is performing or not. And the advantage of monitoring performance is that where you detected an error, you can address it there and then. Don't leave it, because the moment you keep on accumulating these errors, it will lead to a point whereby the organization will not manage it anymore, and then the success of the organization will be affected. Still, under performance monitoring, you need to identify areas of underperformance. You need to know where employees are not performing well. This will help you to answer the question of why. Okay, you will not answer the question of why if you don't know where the problem is. So by you knowing where the problem is, you'll be able to know why the employees are not performing. So this can be only achieved if you have a monitoring mechanism in place. So the next step you need to follow is to identify causes. Okay. Now you need to identify causes like investigating the reason why performance is below the standard. This will help you to know whether the employee is the problem or the organization is the problem. How is the organization the problem? Especially the procurement of equipment or computers. That is the responsibility of the organization together with the IT department. Okay, the employee has nothing to do with the buying new computers for the organization, which brand to buy for the organization. So if the performance is because of equipment, failure of equipment or inefficiency of the machine, then the blame goes to the management of the organization. So it's still under identifying the cause. You need to uh, check the gaps in skills and then find out how you can fix it. So skills gaps, inadequate resources, and motivation issues are the things you need to look at. Why are the employees not motivated? Okay. Do you have the resources to motivate the employees or not? So these are the things you need to look at identifying the causes, because motivation has influence on performance. Even inadequate resources or resources has also influence on performance of the employee in an organization. So under identifying the cause, these are the things you need to take into consideration. The next step is feedback and communication. So you need to provide constructive feedback to the employees. Example, if the performance is below the standard, you need to communicate to them, because through communication they will be able to know where the problem is and how to rectify it. But if you keep quiet as a manager without telling the employees where the problem is, then you are committing a suicide, very big suicide. The employees will comfortably continue doing what they're doing, thinking that they are actually performing, but the actual sense is they are not performing. So as a manager, please, you need to give those feedback to the employee. The next one is discuss improvement areas and the solutions. It's still under feedback. You need to discuss the improvement areas. For example, if the employees is not performing well in a certain area, you need to discuss with them where their problem is and what you intend to do as management or as an organization in order to improve in those areas. But if you keep it only to the employees, then there is no point of you managing their performance, because the aim of managing the performance is to make sure that the organization is very productive, to make sure that the organization is very efficient in executing or in meeting its goals and the objectives. So basically, these are the things you are supposed to do: feedback and communication. The next step, which is step number 5, is now developing improvement plans. You have identified the weakness. So what are you planning to do? So you need to collaboratively create action plans. By collaboration, I mean teamwork. Okay. If you are the human resource manager, you are the one who is managing this performance. You need to involve the department head, okay, where that employee is working from. If the employee is working from the Department of Logistics, then you need to work collaboratively with the logistics department to make sure that you have action plan in order to improve the performance of that particular employee. Then you need to set goals and timelines and strategies. Timeline helps to regulate the performance of employee in terms of the deadline. Okay, you always need to have a deadline. Don't give task which is open. The moment you give task to an employee and it is open, no deadline, the employee might even take the whole year without executing the task. And serious employee will take the whole year. Okay, because there's no deadline, and it is a sign that you as a manager you are not organized. So make sure that you have a deadline, and also you need to have a strategy. How do you intend to improve on their performance? The strategy should be in place. For example, if the strategy is about training, and then you need to do that. And if the strategy is about maybe job rotation, because job rotation is actually part of training, okay? Taking employees to work in a different section, but to within the same department. That's what you mean by job rotation. Then you need to also set clear goals. What are you planning to achieve by managing the employee's performance as an organization? And also, what will the employee achieve as an individual in the process of managing his or her uh, performance? Of course, the whole idea is we need productivity and efficiency. That is the key. Where there is no productivity, where there is no efficiency, organization performance is extremely very poor, very poor. So we need to have that in place. The next step is support and the resources. You need to provide necessary support. It can be in terms of training or resources to underperforming employees. So if someone is not performing well, you need to train that person. That's what you mean by support. Okay. You can also give them the resources they want. If the training requires additional expertise, you can look at that and then take care of it. So that is what you do under support and resources. And also you need to enhance your skills and the capabilities. How do you enhance your skills and capability? Give the employees extra or additional tasks to do. That one will empower them. That's what we call employee empowerment in an organization. So don't only limit them to the job description, but allow them to take on other responsibilities. That one will help to build their capacity. So basically, these are some of the steps you need to follow as a manager managing the performance of your employees, especially those who are performing. Now, let us look at the benefits of underperformance management. One is it facilitates growth and the development. Of course, management of underperformance involves training, like I've told you. When you're training the employees, you're giving them the new skills. It means they are growing professionally or career-wise, they are growing. So by the end of the year, they must have accumulated a lot of skills, a lot of knowledge, which will help organization in the long run a lot. The next one is it enhances individual and team performance. Let me talk about individual performance. That is a single employee performing in an organization. How about the team? Let me say the Department of Human Resource. It comprises of the manager, the assistant HR or the senior HR, the HR officer. We have the training officer, depending on the size of the organization. So the whole team will be performing well if an individual team, I mean, if an individual employee is doing well. So this is how it looks. One person performing better means the team's performance is. When the team's performance is okay, it means now the organizational performance is doing well. So from individual to the team, then finally to the organization. So the performance of organization actually depends not only on the team, but it depends on the individual. Because a team is made up of individual employees who are performing well. So in fact, the key is individual, not actually the team. Yes, the key is the individual. If the individual is not performing well, then the team is not performing well. So these are some of the things you need to look at, and it is very important for you to understand that individual performance is key to organizational success. The next one is fosters culture of continuous improvement. Of course, employees will be improving on their performance every time because learning is a continuous process. You can't say for me I've learned enough. You cannot learn enough, especially with the advancement in technology. New things are coming, so it means you will be learning always. So that is how underperforming management is very important in the organization because it fosters that culture of continuous learning and also improvement. If you don't do better today, tomorrow you will do better. So basically, these are some of the key benefits of managing underperformance in organization. Now let us look at the challenges in underperformance management. What are the challenges? Challenge number one is identifying root causes accurately. Okay, you might conclude that yes, this person is not performing because of maybe outdated software, only computer. But the truth of the matter could be he is the problem. Okay? Maybe he doesn't have the skills to, to operate the computer. However much the computer can also be contributing factor, but maybe the individual factor also plays a great role. So that is how identifying root cause cannot be accurate, and it affects the management team. For example, if you have identified that computer is the problem, okay, that was wrongly identified, then you go ahead and buy a new computer. But still, the performance will not improve because the root cause is not the computer, but the root cause is the person who is operating the computer. So by doing that, it's going to be a very challenging management process to the organization because you are going to invest money or you are going to buy new computer when the problem at hand is not about computer. The next one is resistant to change or feedback. Some employees can resist, can reject the feedback you are giving to them concerning their performance. Like you're telling someone, you see, you have been performing below the expectations. The person says, no, I do come to work every day. How can you tell me that I'm not performing? They can resist and they deny that. So these are the things you need to get yourself prepared for. And how do you address that? You need to have documentation. You need to have evidence. Okay. If the employees is always submitting tasks or completing tasks after the deadline, have the evidence. When he's rejecting the results or the feedback, show him the evidence to silence him or her. The next one is limited resources or time constraints. Management is time consuming. You are the human resource manager or the departmental manager in your department. You have a lot of tasks to do, and here you also need to manage a performance. So, in terms of time, it is stretching. Also, in terms of other resources like finance, you need money, you need enough budget to train the employees if the problem is about training. Okay. Sometimes you find that the training cannot be done locally. You need to take the employees outside for training, which requires money. And again, there are some risks or uncertainty we don't see. You're training the person today, and then tomorrow the person comes and they leave the organization, okay, and goes somewhere to work. with all that skills, with all that investment you made in him, but he decided to leave the organization. So it is normal. In human resource, it is normal because people come to the organization when they get a green pasture, they move on. So they prepare for that. Then maintaining constant follow-up and support is also a challenge. Okay. The support can be in terms of resources, the support can be in terms of system improvement, and also maybe mentorship or coaching. These are some of the support you give. But you may find that the support will not be constant because of maybe some of the challenges the organization is facing. If you work in a profit-making organization, where the organization is not making profit because of the economic situation. So the support to be given to such an underperforming employee becomes very limited. So these are some of the challenges we face in managing underperformance in the organization. Now let us look at the action plans for underperforming employees. What do you do for the underperforming employees? The action plans outline specific steps and timelines for underperforming employees to improve their performance. It provides a roadmap for employees, facilitate accountability, and track progress toward performance improvement. So that is how we can define action plans. Basically, what you want to do and how you want to do it to make sure that the performance of employees are improved. For example, if the underperformance is in terms of inefficiency, the employees is not sufficient or is not efficient. How do you improve on that? That is the action plan we are talking about. Now let us look at the steps in action plan. What are the steps? Step number one is you need to identify specific performance areas which require improvement. Underperformance cannot be general. It could be in one specific area. For example, maybe let me say late coming. The employee is ever coming late for work. So what could be the problem? So you need to investigate that. Why is the employee always coming late for work? Then you need to use performance data feedback and observations to pinpoint performance accurately. So performance data feedback can be the performance appraisal which we looked at in the previous section, whereby we say that performance appraisal is basically assessing the performance of the employees against the set standard. So you need to have those data in place when you are trying to pinpoint the reason why the employees are not performing well. Then finally, under step one is you need to set measurable goals to address the identified areas effectively. Measurable goal which can easily be achieved and then measured. Don't just set goals which you cannot uh, achieve. For example, if you want to train the employees, you can have a target of maybe training two or three underperforming employees this year or this month. That is achievable. But don't say we need to train all the employees this month. Now who's going to remain in the office to work when you have taken them all to the field for training? So that's how you set a measurable goal. The next one now is the step number two, which is collaborate with the underperforming employee to develop an improvement strategy. So you need to call them and then ask them where the problem is, why they're doing this, why they're not performing, and then discuss with them what you intend to do as an organization in order to improve on their performance. Then you need to identify resources and support needed to facilitate performance enhancement. The resource, of course, is finance. And then the support could be in terms of mentorship or in terms of coaching to make sure that the employee's performance is really improved. Then you also need to clearly communicate expectations and timelines for achieving improvement goals. You need to tell the employees what you expect out of them and also set clear deadlines for them to achieve what you intend them to achieve. Otherwise, like I've said before, if you don't have the timelines, then employees will be reluctant to perform. So timeline helps put them on pressure to make sure that they perform or they execute the task within the time frame given. So basically, these are the things we need to do after, under step number two. Then in step number three, you need to provide necessary training and coaching to enable skills and knowledge. That's of course under the support. Then you need to offer opportunities for professional development and growth. This is by promoting the employees to the highest position. Of course, before you promote them, there are some criteria you need to look at in terms of their performance, in terms of their qualifications and experience, etc. So that will help in managing their performance. Then also encourage employee engagement and participation in improvement initiatives. You don't need to work alone. You need to work with the underperforming employees because they are the one who are underperforming, not you, the management. So you need to work together with them to seek their suggestion, maybe to ask a few questions. They will be the one actually to tell you how best to manage their performance. That's what you need to do under step number 3. Then in step number 4, you need to establish regular check-in points to monitor progress and provide ongoing feedback. That is like a control mechanism. Every employee's performance need to be controlled, but if you cannot control it, then it becomes very difficult for you to manage. In fact, management is basically controlling the performance of the employees in an organization. So assess the effectiveness of implemented strategies and adjust as needed. If the strategy is training, you need to assess it. Has it been successful or not? Because if employee has gone for training but he comes back and still continue underperforming, it means that strategy is not successful. Okay, we need to adjust, maybe change it completely. Then the next one is recognize and reinforce improvements to motivate the employee. So those who have done better now, recognize them, give them some motivation. This one would help them to keep on improving and also to encourage those who are not performing well to continue performing. So that is step number 4. These are the things you need to do. Now, in the step number 5, you need to continuously track and evaluate performance against goals and the milestones. This can be by setting targets and see whether the targets have been achieved, and also by evaluating the performance of the employees against the set standards, etc. Then you need to document progress and also challenges and outcome for future reference. So documentation is very important. It acts as a reference. You go there and see how it has been done, where the problem is, how you're going to address it. Otherwise, if you don't have any documentations, then it will be very difficult for you to know whether you have employees who are underperforming and who are they actually. Okay. Then the next one is celebrate achievements and provide support for sustained performance. Of course, that's all about encouragement. Now, when an achievement has been made, you need to celebrate it. Okay, you need to celebrate it. You can have a small party to celebrate that achievement. The idea is to make sure that the employees are having that high morale, motivated. Okay, the idea is all about motivation. When employees are not motivated in the organization, their performance is really below the standard. So make sure that the motivation spirit is very high in the organization. So by celebrating the achievement, it makes the employees, the team, and the entire organization, it brings them together. Actually, celebration brings the entire team together, the top management, the middle management, the employee, etc. together. So that one also promotes what we call social welfare of the employees, togetherness, and then also build a very strong relationship. Lastly, let us look at the tips for managing underperformance. One is you need to address issues promptly, directly, and privately. It means when you have identified an issue or weaknesses somewhere in employee's performance, you need to call the employees privately in the office, then tell him or her where the problem is. Immediately, don't delay. The next one is provide constructive feedback and offer solutions. So you need to discuss the performance of the employees with them and then offer solutions if the problem needs solution. But if the performance is okay, you also need to discuss with them and then encourage them to maintain that or even to do better. Then lastly, ensure fairness and consistency in addressing underperformance. With consistency, we mean you address it uniformly, okay, in a timely manner, and then following the guidelines or the strategies you have put in place. If the strategy is about training, you need to stick to that. Train every employee who is underperforming. So that's what we mean by consistency. And then also fairness. We don't need to segregate every employee treated equally in terms of addressing their performance issues. That's what I had prepared for you in this presentation. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I will also have this in the next session. Thank you.